Kyle Pitts came into the NFL with the weight of expectations few young players have ever carried. Taken 4th overall in the 2021 draft, he arrived in Atlanta with the promise of being a generational tight end, a mismatched nightmare, a hybrid weapon capable of stretching defenses vertically. In his rookie season, he lived up to much of that billing. 68 catches, over 1,000 yards, a Pro Bowl nod, flashes of the physical dominance scouts had praised. But in the seasons that followed, those flashes became more sporadic. Year 2 was cut short by injury. Year 3 and 4 delivered modest numbers, and questions began swirling. Was Pitts living up to the investment? In the past month, those questions have shifted tone. What was once a frustration over underwhelming production has become a speculation about his future at Atlanta. With his 5th-year option picked up earlier this spring, Pitts is locked in through 2025, yet the Falcons are reportedly entertaining trade interest. That's not casual curiosity, it's teams calling, packages discussed, front offices measuring a top 4 pick against output that hasn't matched his talent. Atlanta isn't actively forcing a departure, but they're keeping the phone on the hook. The turning point was simple. If you have offers coming in, not for a player who's thriving, but for one who has struggled, you listen. Multiple teams reportedly reached out to Atlanta this offseason, and not just small market flits. This isn't silliness, it's serious business. The Falcons prefer to hold on to Pitts. They believe in his game. Combines, they've said, with an encouraging offseason outlook. But they also know talent like his can't be ignored if someone is willing to pay for it. Before we fully get into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out and make sure you don't miss updates on other big name players. I've got a Terry McLaurin video coming soon with all the latest on his contract situation and trade rumors, so stay tuned. But back to it. Who's actually putting in calls to the Falcons? The Dolphins have made waves. They just traded away Jonnu Smith and are in the market for a new tight end according to multiple reports. They're heading into 2025 with Tyreek Hill nearing the end of his career, so if the Dolphins want to maximize the window for their high-octane offense, the time to strike is now. Miami's recent moves show they're hunting pass catchers hard, and Pitts fits the bill. And unlike some other rumored names, his size to speed package is rare. It's the kind of addition you'd make if you believe you're a contender now. Meanwhile, whispers say the New York Jets have shown interest too. Imagine Pitts lined up alongside Garrett Wilson as Justin Fields' security blanket in the red zone. That's what the Jets picture. They're cautious, with cap space eaten by other extensions, but intrigue remains. It's the kind of high-risk, high-reward move they flirt with. They might not pull the trigger, but the fact they're listening signals respect. And deep in the Whisper network, analysts have floated other threads. Green Bay could toss receivers or a late pick to get creative. Jacksonville might view him as a Lawrence-era weapon, while Carolina has been mentioned as a dark horse suitor. Even the Cowboys and Giants have been brought up, not because they're confirmed contenders, but because putting those names in the mix creates leverage. Atlanta will use that to decide. Keep a player with upside but uneven follow-through, or flip him for draft capital that actually helps shape the future. The numbers behind the chatter tell part of the story. Pitts caught 47 passes for 602 yards and 4 touchdowns last season, a clear drop from his rookie peak. He ranked toward the bottom of tight ends in PFF grades. At the same time, he showed spark moments. A 2-touchdown game, a 50-yard grab, and that clutch touchdown catch thrown by Michael Penix Jr. The flashes are there, but they're too few. And for a franchise with playoff aspirations, TV highlight moments aren't a reliable foundation. Part of the issue is offensive fit. Atlanta poured resources into Bijan Robinson and Drake London, and Michael Penix Jr. is under center for real now, but Pitts hasn't always found his comfort zone. Body language flashed at times, effort dipped, and route detail became a soft critique. He's a physically dominant player, but football isn't just wiry strength. It's consistency, run after catch, mastering technique. Coaches keep talking about details, and in public interviews they're bullish, but privately, they're watching film with a lens focused on timing and effort. So, what would a trade look like? Analysts generally place him in the day 2 range, a 2nd or 3rd round pick. but realistically, maybe more. A package including a mid-rounder with some exchange of picks. Pittsburgh might offer a 2026 first and a 2027 fourth, though that'd stretch their comfort zone. Jets could go similar, maybe sweeten it up with an extra pick. Other teams would hesitate, unless they can dead cap the $11 million salary on the fifth-year option. Yet not everyone believes this scenario will materialize. Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer recently poured cold water on the speculation, calling it June noise. He argues Atlanta showed belief by picking up the option. Pitts isn't requesting a trade, and teams that call won't want to pay both his salary and give up a premium pick. In his view, this is likely a storyline that fans hype more than franchises treat as actionable plans. Still, breathing life into the story is NFL timing. Training camp is just around the corner, and holding on the promises of future production doesn't last forever. If Pitts shows up, performs, and connects on film, Atlanta likely pockets the value they hoped for back in 2021. But if camp rolls around and consistency still evades him, the Falcons could demand action, or feel compelled to strike when interest is hottest. From a player's standpoint, Pitt's attitude matters. He hasn't called for a trade. He hasn't leaked frustration. Teammates and coaches speak positively about his resolve and believe what happened last year was just a learning curve. His reps with Penix and Morris have been enough to keep hope alive. That speaks volumes. Because if his attitude had cracked, his value would have tumbled even faster. Atlanta's options are clear: maximize upside and see what happens, or collect picks and build continuity without a player whose output has been variable. They traded the 4th round pick for a reason, and now they must live with it, on the field or off it. And let's not forget the fans. Nearly half have said they're okay with moving on. They saw the promise, but they've also seen the fade. A vocal segment believes fresh value, a draft pick, would be more useful than another year of potential. The other half wants the player they helped root for to succeed and fulfill his promise. Front office decisions in this space are rarely unanimous, but fan heartbeat matters. So what will the Falcons do? The most likely path is patience leading into camp, hold, give him a clean slate, test effort, reset usage, and then reassess. If he fires out of the gate, they roll forward, hoping an extension ride carries them into contender status. If not, the trade market stays warm, maybe even hotter as injury risk rises or scheme fit becomes clearer. And who knows, teams like Pittsburgh or the Jets might circle back, make their best offers, and push Atlanta to decide. If a trade happens, it's more than just a roster change. It recalibrates the identity of the team, trading your highest recent draft pick, your most physically gifted pass catcher, says you're serious about control and momentum over emotion. It frees draft capital and cap space for reinvestment in depth or defense. But it also sends a message. Your young star must perform weekly, or the franchise moves. On the flip side, keeping Pitts and having him finally thrive, that changes narratives. He becomes the breakout weapon in a rising offense. Penix has a weapon, Atlanta fans get their boom tight end back, and the decision to stand with him pays off. That outcome reinforces reputation, builds chemistry, and gives the front office leeway on future management. It's also a moment of market dynamics. If success hinges on connecting a talent like Pitts with elite quarterback systems, then the Falcons just happen to be a college quarterback forward offense built around his usage. Misfires there aren't just the scheme, they're evaluation mistakes. Atlanta's faith in this talent and in internal coaching will be tested. So what would you do if you were running the Falcons? Would you bet on his athletic upside and keep him for one more stab, or cash in, draft new, and build a different future? Who is the most intriguing suitor, and what would you offer? A conditional second? Maybe a first and a future mid-rounder? Let me know what would you do. But here's the thing. This story is just starting. And as draft picks become phone calls and camp approaches, we'll know what kind of team Atlanta really wants to be. One built on belief in draft capital's promise, or one built on unlocking the next level in a top-tier talent. The answer will shape their season, their identity, and their future. Thanks for listening. Subscribe for the breakdown once the whistle blows in camp and moves are made.